Today's top stories. NATO foreign ministers today issued a statement after talks in Brussels, saying that there would be no, quote, business as usual with Russia until Moscow fully withdraws its troops from Georgia. Quote, "We have determined that we cannot continue with business as usual. We call on Moscow to demonstrate, both in word and deed, its continued commitment to the principles upon which we agreed to base our relationship." NATO Secretary General Jaap de Hoop Scheffer told reporters after the talks that NATO did not plan to isolate Russia, but that the military alliance could not move forward until Russia withdraws from its neighbor.
We do certainly not have the intention to close all doors in our communication with Russia, but I say again, the future will depend on concrete actions from the Russian side.
Russian tanks and armored vehicles withdrew from the strategic Georgian town of Gori today, but Georgia's interior minister said the move was only a, quote, show aimed at creating the illusion of a withdrawal. The number 2 U.S. military commander in Iraq, Lieutenant General Lloyd Austin, said yesterday that he expects Shiite militia leaders who fled to Iran last spring to return to Iraq soon to stir up instability in the war-torn country. But he said the improved security conditions and change in the attitude of the Iraqi people will make it difficult for the militants. He said, quote, "Even though we anticipate that some of these leaders will attempt to return soon, we know that they will be returning to a much less permissive environment." Last week, a senior U.S. military official said that Iraqi assassination squads are being trained in 4 Iranian cities by that country's elite Quds force and Lebanon's Hezbollah. Iran has denied giving support to the militias, accusing the U.S. presence of creating instability in Iraq. Reza Hejazi was executed today in Iran's central city of Esfahan, hours after it was announced that the 20-year-old's execution was postponed. Conflicting reports by Iranian media hours before the execution said that Iran's judiciary had postponed the hanging. Hejazi was charged with murder at 15 years old following a dispute that left another man dead in September 2004. He was sentenced to death by the Esfahan Public Court in November 2005, and Iran's Supreme Court approved the sentence in June 2006. Under Iranian law, he should have been tried in a juvenile court. Additionally, Iran's Islamic Penal Code says that the offender's attorney must be notified of the scheduled execution 48 hours before it is carried out so that the defense attorney can be present. But in Hejazi's case, only his family was notified of the execution, and this notice came less than 24 hours before the scheduled time. These stories and more at IranVNC.com.